if I understand how Derm is operating, it's basically a device. Let's just verify my understanding. It's a device that is a camera, that the camera has, the images then are run through a deep learning algorithm of some kind. But if that's understanding, the nice thing about that is you have a form factor of an object that is now in the system. And for you to add additional sensors to that are not optical sensors, or at least they may be optical, but they need not be just a traditional camera, will allow you to sort of quite easily start collecting quite a wide variety of data. And it's just worth noting that so far, everything we've done in dermatology, not everything, but the large majority of it has been rate limited by the human eye. And there's no reason that has to be the sensor we use. There's a ton of sensors that we could imagine using that have nothing to do with it, that the human eye couldn't even possibly interpret them. And I think one thing I like about what we've done is by now having it as a device, you can easily upgrade that device to include new sensors. There's approvals, but putting aside the approvals thing, you have the easiest thing solved. It's not a new device you need people to start using. They're just getting version 2 of a device they're already using. So that strikes me as two pathways that I would kind of think about. One is radical changing the scope to which you're applying, and the other is radical change in the input modalities that you're taking. And it seems like you've set yourself up to do both of those pretty well.
We are looking at using a very, very, very narrow band of the information that exists about our skin by using optical sensors and only optical sensors. And we've had to do that because as humans and dermatologists, that's what we have. And we are now no longer bound by that. We can add all sorts of additional sensors, low-cost sensors, which matters to us because we want this to be something that happens outside of a hospital. But we can add all sorts of sensors to this to improve the information that we have to make decisions. And we shouldn't just be limited to what we've thought of as dermatology, which is psoriasis, eczema, skin cancer, inflammatory skin diseases, all of those sorts of things, which are a huge problem in their own right. But we strongly believe, and some of our advisors and dermatologists that help us think through this, there is a lot more information encoded in our skin. There's hypertension information, there's liver disease information, there is undoubtedly, and I'm going out on a limb here ahead of the science, which we want to prove, but I would argue that it would be remarkable if the only information that was available on our largest organ that is visible to us in every part of our body, and all that it tells us is if we're going to have an inflammatory skin disease or a skin cancer. I just don't believe that that's ultimately going to end up being true. And I think what we have as an opportunity is using dermatology as it exists now, redesigning the way the system works, but adding additional sensors and getting the downstream outcome data, which we focus very heavily on, to start to try and tease out what some of those relationships might be, and then trying to build in solutions in the longer term, which really, again, opens up how we think about, a new level of zero care, if you like. Instead of primary care, we have something that sits in front of that technology is driving.